Wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up.
Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning.
Wake up, wake up, wake up.
Morning to you.
Hi there, good morning. Welcome to today. Today is Thursday, by the way. Thursday, the 23rd of January, 2025. I'm Pearson Bowen. Good to see you. Glad you're keeping me company as well. And it being the 23rd of January means it's the birthday of one of my sisters, Hyacinth Moore. Hyacinth, good morning. Happy birthday to you. Enjoy your birthday to the fullest. Something tells me that your colleagues at the Central Bank of Barbados are going to be showering you with all sorts of blessings and greetings. So to Hyacinth Moore, good morning. Happy birthday to you today from the family with loads, and I mean loads of love. She is one of the funniest people you will ever meet, but she's also quite serious, so don't cross the lines, but she's a good girl. So to Hyacinth Moore, from all of us, happy birthday to you today. Don't forget you can continue to engage with us on our social media platforms on Facebook and YouTube. You can also send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. So if there's something you know about that you think we ought to feature, drop us an email. If there's someone you know about who you think we need to engage with, drop us an email, morninbarbados@cbc.bb. Or if there's someone who lives overseas who's doing phenomenal things, they don't necessarily have to be Bajan alone, but we'd love to talk specifically to Bajans too, then you can give us those contacts. You are like our partners in all of this. So we do appreciate you engaging with us in those ways. Send us the information. We'll be happy to engage with all and sundry indeed. So we do welcome your engagement. Continue to engage between yourselves and with us, but most of all, feed us the information that you think would help us to make the show a whole lot better, more engaging for you as well. So we look forward to all of that today, and I mean every day as well. As it is Thursday, I want to hear from you. At the top of the show, early o'clock, I'd like to hear from you. I have a question today, and I'm being serious when I ask this question. If you could time travel to any period of time in history, what would that time be? And why would you want to go there? So if you could time travel to any period of time in history, what period of time would you want to be living in? And why? Call me on 228-5562 or 228-5563. I can't wait to take your call, so get cracking. Think about it, because I've had some time to think about it. I already have my time period I'd like to travel to. But what is it for you? Where would you want to be in history? To live that history perhaps, and why? So give us a call, 228-5562 or 228-5563. You're not too young nor too old not to want to, so engage with us, 228-5562 or 228-5563. Now, coming up today, we'll also be having a discussion surrounding artificial intelligence. By now, we know what it is. It's finding its way into everything that we do and all the ways in which we operate. But how can we leverage artificial intelligence in education and business? And what are some of the safeguards? We want to talk to our consultant in technology this morning about that to see and get greater insight into all of that. Today also, I want to turn my attention to special needs and education for those of special needs. And I'm wondering if that's a fair term, special needs. How do we tackle that and a whole lot more? But let's take this call. Come in. Good morning to you.
Peace be unto you and yours, and a thankful Thursday to each and everyone.
Likewise to you, Gail. So talk to me. What period of time would you like to go back to? And why, if you could travel?
If I have to travel, you mean as my age or...
No. If you could time travel, so for instance, I'll give you mine. Mm-hmm. I wish if I could time travel, I would go right back to the stage where Jesus was being crucified. I would like to be a part of that crowd to see what my reaction would have been, one, and to see how other people reacted then, and to watch that moment that changed the rest of the world. I'd like to travel back to that period. That's one example. What would it be for you?
Well, for me, I would like to go back. Well, there was always trouble in yes, in Jesus' time also, where he was doing miracles, you know.
Is there any particular time of his life then, if you want to go with Jesus, is there any particular time of his life that you wished you were living in?
Feeding the you know, when he made the miracles by feeding all those.
The 5,000?
Yes, yes.
Oh, you would love to have been in the crowd?
Well, not only in the crowd, but to see and to me, when he turned the water into wine also, just to see his miracles.
But, you would like to be in a time to see his miracles?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any other time that you would have wanted to time travel to, that you wished, you would have read about it, or you might have seen movies about it, and you said, boy, it would have been great to have been around, or I'm curious as to what it would have been then for those people. Is there any other time?
Raising Jairus' daughter, you know, how he raised the dead. And then seeing him when he came back, when he arose and went with the disciples.
You would have been frightened.
Those miracles I would like to see if I had to
That's
go
fair.
back.
That's fair,
For me
Gail.
now, if you was going forward now, I would love to go back. I would love to go when you die to see where it is down there.
Down there? You going down? Is that where you're going, Gail?
So I can prepare myself.
Well, you better go by yourself.
So I can prepare myself.
I hear you,
Well,
but you go down there by yourself. I'm not even time traveling that with you.
I would like to see how it is so that I can prepare myself anyway.
If only, Gail. But thanks for your call, all right?
Well, have a blessed day, everybody.
Thank you so much. So, what is it for you? What period of time would you like to time travel to, and why? If you could. If you could. Now, you heard mine. I gave one part of mine. I'll give another for you. For me, I've heard so many legendary stories of my great-grandmother. She died a couple years before I was born. I wish I could go back. Let me fling all the way back and enjoy some of the moments with my great-grandmother, my maternal great-grandmother. I'd love to be able to sit with her, to talk to her, because I was that sort of child that spent time with my grandparents. To hear from them, to engage with them. What would it be for you? 228-5562 or 228-5563. Now, I was speaking to you about what else is coming up this morning. So special needs is what we want to look at. We would have engaged with Kit's Cadet earlier last week. And so we asked her then, and she's consented to be a part with us again this time as we take a more detailed look at how does our educational system respond to those with special needs, and what else can we do so that special needs people are not left on the fringes of life. And so we want to talk a little bit more about that. Now, there's a Bajan living in a burning inferno. I'm telling you, he has a story to tell. And so when we connect with this Bajan Afar, we want to hear from him how he's managing it, what is his experience, and what are the lessons he's learning as he lives through the burning inferno. I mean, it's happening still, and so we want to hear with him. Are you absolutely clear on where you want to go with your life for the rest of the year? Let's start there. And are you managing it? Well, there's someone who has a plan that within 30 days can bring clarity to your being able to order your plans for the next 30 days. And so when she joins us, we want to hear what that plan is, how practical it is, and perhaps get some real life examples as well. But right now, it's the question of the day. If you could time travel to any period in history, where would you go and why? I've had some people tell me in my ear already, they'd like to go back to their teenage. So where would you want to go if you could travel in any period of time? Would you want to live to see when Queen Elizabeth came to the throne? I don't know. What is it from history that you'd like to be able to experience yourself by time traveling, going back into history? Where would you like to go? What period of time would you like to be in? And what are some of those experiences you would like to have? So call me on 228-5562 or 228-5563 and let me hear from you. If you're already posting on our social media platform as well, on Facebook, engaging with us, talk to me, type away. Tell me, where would you like to go and why? What period of time and in history would you like to go and why? 228-5562 or 228-5563. I shall wait on you. But you know, we were talking about road tennis for a little while, and we had some winners of our local juniors road tennis competition recently. But the sport is indigenous to us, and there are people all over the world who are fascinated by this sport as well. Take a look at this.
In Barbados, if you ask someone to name a famous tennis player, it's unlikely they'd answer with stars like Roger, Rafa, or Serena.
Well, I would say I'm a little bit of a celebrity, yes. Where I go certain places, people recognize me.
Girls normally look up to me in the island. They would tell me, well, one day they would like to become like me.
Instead, you might hear a few names that haven't been echoed throughout Labour and Nash. Tennis players who dominate the streets. Well, actually, the roads of Barbados.
My name is Mark Venom Griffith, and I'm the #1 men's road tennis champion in the world.
My name is Sheldon Warren, better known as Babyface Assassin, the #1 female player in road tennis in the world.
Well, you're at one of the most famous spots when it comes to road tennis. You're at the sauna. This is our indoor facility for road tennis. As you can see, sometimes it gets really hot because the heat that's generated on the court.
An alternative to traditional tennis or lawn tennis, road tennis is a vibrant staple of the Bajan sporting culture. Its inception, a response to socio-economic inequality on the land.
Road tennis was born in the 30s as a means of getting to play tennis because the locals could not afford to play the traditional lawn tennis. Remember, we were under the British rule, so we were colonized. Traditional tennis would have been a privileged sport. Back then, we didn't have the paint, so the legend said that they marked out the court with a chalk rod. They would have used just a piece of wood to call it the net and use a piece of wood to use as the racket. You can find a road tennis court in every community in Barbados. We have them in basically your streets. You'll be driving past and you're like, there's a road tennis here, that's people playing road tennis.
I would explain road tennis as a similar version to lawn tennis, but it's much smaller.
The dimensions of the court is 21 by 10 feet. The height of the net is 8 inches by 12.
Yes, use the same scoring as table tennis.
Each body serve 5, and then first person to turn 1 gets a ring.
Road tennis is our only indigenous sport. So we have courts now that are covering the whole island. I would say there are thousands of persons who are currently playing road tennis on island. This year we had a major competition, which was the Road Tennis Open. Prize money would have reached at least $10,000. I can tell you that we are attracting in excess of 100 persons per competition.
With road tennis now a burgeoning sport across the island, leadership has its sights set on a much grander stage.
A couple of African nations who would have expressed an interest in having it in their country. We're in the process of training coaches that we can export. We have interest from the European Union. Government cannot do it alone. So we're asking the private sector to come on board. The end goal is to see if we can have it as an Olympic sport.
Maybe a little love from some of those other tennis names and faces could be of help.
Of course, I watch the other formats of tennis, like the lawn tennis. My favorite player is Djokovic.
One of my favorite players is Serena.
Do you think that you could take her on a road tennis court?
A road tennis, sure, but not lawn tennis.
Of course I could take them on a road tennis court. Not in lawn tennis, but for sure, definitely in road tennis.
That's the story of road tennis in Barbados indeed, and if you didn't know, now you know. I didn't know there was a science to the actual pitch. I call it a pitch, you know what I mean, the court, or the height of the net. Didn't know all of that, but there's a science to it, and now we're trying to get it as an Olympic sport. As children, we grew up playing, and I mean playing in the road tennis indeed. And you, of course, as you would have seen in the video as well, from time to time you had to stop, remove the net and allow the cars to pass by. And everybody understood. They all understood. I remember Daddy said, don't let me catch you the road here. But you know, you did what you had to do. And in watching that video as well, using the chalk, my cameraman here, Peter, reminded us that from time to time you would take a whole clump of grass and you would use the juice and mark out the rim, the lines to the court. It was phenomenal growing up in that time. But what's it for you? 228-5562 or 63. If you could travel back in time in history, to a period of time that you're fascinated about, what would that period of time be and why? I'd like to hear where you'd like to travel to. I shared mine with you. Now you share yours with me. 228-5562 or 63. Morning Barbados continues right after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
My friend, you don't plan to get it? Oh, Barbados. Hey, I'm KB Clean. Join me 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. right here at 94.7, the best and ultimate Bajan experience. My show is called Bajan to the Bone. Don't miss it, Bajan to the Bone. Weekdays right here and only here on 94.7.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
We enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love crew.
When you love me just a little bit longer.
You get to relax and have a drink and listen to some nice music.
It's something different. It's spectacular. It's fabulous. You know, it's a different feeling altogether.
I never feel so good in a party yet.
Follow me to Q in the Community this Thursday.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. And together we will travel the world.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
My friend, you don't plan to get it? Oh, Barbados. Hey, I'm KB Clean. Join me 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. right here at 94.7, the best best and ultimate Bajan experience. My show is called Bajan to the Bone. Don't miss it, Bajan to the Bone. Weekdays, right here and only here on 94.7.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
21 and a half minutes after 6 o'clock, still waiting on your answer to my question, which is if you could time travel to any period in history, where would you go and why? 228-5562 or 228-5563. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Not too bad. Pearson mine was cricket. And when the boys stay in the road in the semi, you sit down cricket call. When they don't give me again, the bat is mine. I'm going to take the bat.
You used to play cricket?
Yes.
So you want to be able to go back to a time when you could play more cricket?
No, I never. Because when the ball coming in, go hit the piece of game, I used to kick it out with my foot.
Oh.
And they used to say that they can't get me out and will not give me a game. So if they give me a game, I give him my bat.
You got done the game?
And the game done.
If they don't give you a play. I love it. I love it. So you were one of the first female cricketers of Barbados then?
No, man, a little girl and the boys playing one player pitching.
Very good. You had some good girl days. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Do you wish that you could relive those girl days?
Yeah, and the next thing is that he used to go and buy a big marble. That way, you pitch it, and it was split down the one.
Okay.
Okay, good, thank you, bye.
Well, it's good to have the memories. Thank you very much indeed. All right, ma'am. There you go. So, what period of time would you like to travel back to and why? 228-5562 or 228-5563. Call me now and let me know. Where in history would you like to time travel to and why? It's a simple Simon question. Come on, I'm sure from time to time you've read books and you wished that you could be a part of that period. Or you've seen a movie and you said to yourself, boy, had I been there, where would that where be and why? That's the question. There's a bad way to phrase it. Where would that where be? Where would that be and why? 228-5562 or 228-5563. Now tonight, don't forget, tonight on TV8 at 8:03, the next episode of Carnival Catwalk. It is going to be epic again. You are going to be thrilled by what you see, so don't forget it. 8:03 this evening on TV8 for Carnival Catwalk, the next episode, as they go in hunt of that designer who will showcase in Milan and win some money as well. So call me now. If you could time travel to any period in history, where would you go and why? That's what I want to know from you. And as you ponder upon that as well, I just want to remind you that in coming in this morning, we saw some roadworks being done somewhere between Boarded Hall and Bassa. I believe the roads are somewhat reopened now, but they're fixing that road. They're scraping to repave. Just be mindful of some delays possible on that stretch as you make your way into your workplaces, and if that is the road that you take as well. So be mindful of that as well. There may be some delay in road traffic in that particular area from Boarded Hall down to Bassa as they continue to smooth that road. But call me, let me know that period of time in which you'd like to go and why. 228-5562 or 228-5563, or you can write your comment on our Facebook page, and as soon as they get the comments in, they will send it to us so I can see it as well, to share with what your comments are as to that period of time into which you'd like to travel and why. So don't forget, good morning, hello.
Hello, good morning, Pearson.
How are you?
I'm okay.
Good to hear. Now tell me, if you could time travel, what period of time would you like to time travel to and why?
I would like to time travel to the Garden of Eden.
Really? Why?
Yeah. I want to meet Adam and Eve.
You know, if you met Adam and Eve, you would have been naked. Are you laughing? I'm serious. There were no clothes then.
Well, I just want to see what it would be like in that period when there was
I just told you, you will be naked. And you laughed, but I'm serious. So, would you be able to handle that? No.
Of course. Well, if that was the norm back then, well, yes.
So if you were to meet Adam or Eve, what do you think you would want to say to them?
What would it be like being the first, well, I have to say inverted commas, the first two people on earth?
Mm-hmm.
And just living freely and being able to do everything. And
oh, you want the freedom. You want the freedom. That's what I do.
Yes,
but you know that Adam and Eve were not Christians.
Oh, Lord.
No, don't panic. Don't panic. Because the Christians came about because they knew Christ.
Yes.
Adam and Eve didn't.
Ah.
They knew God. They knew Jehovah. But they didn't know the Son at that time to know him as Christ. So they were not termed as Christians. So if you met them, you would want to know from them how it was at the beginning, right?
Correct.
And would you want to ask Eve why she bit that fruit? Talk to me, man.
Definitely.
And if Eve said, and depending on the answer, what would you do to Eve? Be fair, be honest. You can't tell me that there isn't a part of you that would want to say to Eve, Eve, why did you do that? Don't you have any idea what you've done to the rest of us? Would you say that to her?
Correct.
Or would you get angry at Adam? Because he had a choice.
You see, that's with knowledge now of what happened after she ate the apple.
That's right.
It's a little tricky as to what I would have asked. I might have asked her for some. You never know. Then what would have happened?
Fair enough. But do you think you could live? You could handle that kind of living back then, as you know it? Because again, there were no roads as we know it now. You know, and at that time, people thought that the Earth existed as far as the horizon and no further. Yeah. All of those kinds of things.
But there was no crime and no all these bad things. There was like peace and tranquility. That's the part that I'm thinking about.
That's the part you want.
Yes.
All right, fair enough. Is there any other period of time that you wished you could have traveled to? More recent?
I like the times where they talk about the disciples and you know, Jesus going out and doing those
You're a Bible girl.
And all that. Yes,
You're a Bible girl.
Yes.
So you're fascinated by the stories told in the Bible.
Well, grew up with my dad being a lay pastor. We having to go to church and all that. So we, you know, you have to do Bible lessons at home and all that. So it is fascinating.
You know, I heard that children of pastors and priests were very rebellious. Were you?
No. Definitely.
You were?
No, I was not.
Oh, you were afraid of lashes. You're right, girl.
Well,
you were trying to save your soul.
We saw the good things that happened when we were kind to each other. And
fair enough. All right, thank you so much for calling. All right, I wish that when you get to meet Adam and Eve, that you said hi. Say hi for me, okay?
I will.
You're a good sport. Thank you very much. Oh, there are these words on the screen. They're so tiny. I would like to go back to my great-grandparents' time. I would like to see their physical appearance, have a good talk with them about a whole host of things. That's from Rhonda. Rhonda, thanks. Me too. I'm serious. If you'd met my great-grandmother, based upon what I've heard, she was a phenomenal woman. And I wished I had the chance to meet her indeed. But it's 6:30 in Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean. Let's head over now to Georgia. Atlanta, as a matter of fact, and meet with this lady who we met with last week. Her conversation with us was so exciting that I challenged her to let's continue the conversation, and she has agreed. She is this special needs, literacy, and instructional coach. She's in Atlanta, and it's snowing. Kit Scadet, good morning to you.
Good morning, and snow is not usual for us.
I'm not hearing Kits. If someone could help me here. I'm not hearing Kits. Are you muted, Kits? All right, let's see if we can get the audio so Kits can come into me and I can hear her, as I'm sure she's hearing me, but I'm not hearing Kits. So we'll try to resolve that in just a moment, Kits. So hang tight, Kits.
Yeah.
Don't you something I'm hearing now. So there you are, Kits. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing okay. Cold.
Yeah.
But I'm okay.
That's good. Is it snowing at the moment?
It is not, but there is still a lot of ice on the road.
Is that surprising? Is that surprising?
Oh, very, very much so. This is very unusual for Georgia, extremely unusual. So we have had lots of accidents, lots of crazy driving, lots of sliding and sliding on the roads. So it has been quite interesting.
So something tells me you're not going anywhere today.
Well, I haven't been anywhere for the past 3 days, and I'm looking to see what's happening now.
As we say in Barbados, a big frightened woman, but that's all right. That's okay. So, Kits, your specialty is with those with special needs, and I'm not sure if you think that's a fair term to use, special needs. How do you feel about that term?
What we need to understand is exactly what does it mean. I think that's the important thing. What does it mean? Because we have a vision in our minds that when we talk about special needs, we are talking only about those students with visible handicapping conditions or those conditions which make it difficult for them to navigate the world as most people would. So we are talking about those students or persons with sensory difficulties, vision impairment, hearing impairment, or those with cognitive delays. For example, those children with Down syndrome, or those children with mobility issues, cerebral palsy. But the range is much wider than that, because I know that Barbados is a signatory to the United Nations Rights of Persons with Disabilities, and within that, we have the range which extends from the gifted and talented to the cognitively delayed. So that within that range, we have lots of children who in our mainstream schools who have not been assessed, who, if assessed, may be identified as students with special needs.
So how do we begin? Because I can't imagine how much it will take to be able to assess each child, one, and then respond to each specific need of that child. How do we broadly then cover that in education?
Atlanta, I say us in the Caribbean. Because of the limited resources, fortunate or unfortunate, I think the way that we can attack it best in the short term would be to train our teachers so that our teachers have an idea of what to do if there is a child who they recognize has a special need. Now, I want to qualify that. We also talk about inclusion, and inclusion is excellent. That is just humanity, that all children, they have the right to an education, and so we must provide that. But I also have my own tagline which says, inclusion without resources is exclusion. So, yes, I may have my class of 25 or 30 students, and within that class, I have a child with a very visible special need. What are the resources that must be put in place for me to support that child? So yes, I may have the knowledge in that I may have had some training, and many of our teachers don't, but let's suppose that I did. In my class, I would need to have some kind of support to help me educate that child. Too often I have seen children in classrooms with special needs and their needs are not being met because the teacher is unable to do so, given the breadth and the length of her responsibilities.
And also the varying differences in each child.
Exactly.
So how then, and if you're going to do that, it almost seems as if they should have one-on-one instruction, but that's not necessarily practical.
That is not practical. Even in the developed countries, that doesn't happen. I'm here in the US, and it is in very rare situations that you have one-on-one. What you have is an aide or someone supporting that child specifically, but in the mainstream classroom. And that is something, a luxury, I think. I'm not sure if that is the case in Barbados, but I know in many of the islands that does not happen.
So it requires a rethink of not just the approach, but the curriculum.
Yeah. It requires, first, I think it requires a rethinking of the approach, not necessarily the curriculum, because if we are talking about a mainstream environment, you work with the child to the extent that the child can be worked with using the curriculum. So my class is expected to move from A to M during this semester. I have a child in my class who can go from A to C. Well, then that's as far as he can reach. But that must be understood by the parent. It must be understood by the supervisors who come into the school. And even to get that child to C, I may need an assistant in the classroom, because the rest of my children, even though I may have 3 or 4 groups, I could work within that, but there's this one child for whom I need the additional resource. So when we talk about inclusion, it is, as I said, that is the way that we must go. But we must provide the support necessary to support that.
When we look at our education systems, they're often tied to age. And so there are limits up to a particular point that a child is engaged in a class, and then it's graduated to another, and so on and so forth through life.
Yes.
How do you feel about that approach to education broadly, and then about that approach to specifically to those with learning challenges?
Yes, well, broadly, I think that is the way that because students develop at different levels, and when a child, and then we have to look not only at the academic development, we also have to look at the psychosocial development, because you know that a child at 10 is different from a child at 18.
Yes.
So they cannot be in the same environment. So yes, you acquire certain skills, you acquire those skills at specific ages or times in your life, because you know the term late bloomers. So you have those children who may have gone through the system, who may have just slid through. And then when they are in their late teens, they begin to bloom, and they must be given an opportunity so to do. But for a child with a special need, yes, they move along. And let me talk now about a child with a reading deficit, because that is the area that we see raising its head in our schools. So we have a child who is in the 1st grade who has challenges with reading. That child is moved on to the 2nd grade. The challenges are amplified. The child reaches on to the 3rd grade. The child now has the reading challenges along with behavioral challenges, because he or she, they're now at the age where they say, I can't succeed academically. Nobody's going to think that I'm a fool. So then I will act up. I will be the one who demands respect in other ways. Our education system, so when we talk about moving children along, I say yes, because of the age, the social dynamics. But what do we do at each level to ensure that this child does not leave my grade unable to access the written word? Yes, so I believe that graduation is necessary, but I also believe that we must put in place those systems that allow children, yes, they graduate, but they graduate with the skills that they need. Now, for a child with a special educational need, that child will be delayed across the board. So you move the child up, the child is delayed because the rest of the class, they're doing A to M, and he is at A to C, and then A to D, and moving along extremely slowly. The question we have to ask ourselves then is what happens after graduation for this child?
Mm-hmm.
What happens after this child is now 16 or 18? Do we have provision? So the child who is neurotypical, that child will move on to university or to community college or whatever. But for the child who has a special need, where then does that child go after graduation from the elementary? And I know that possibly, I'm not sure to the extent to which these children are absorbed in our secondary schools.
So there's a lot we still need to pay closer attention to in our educational system to be able to respond, because we're shaping the next generation of people for our society.
Yes.
And you're right when you talk about that balance in education. While we can have the academic, there's so many other aspects to living.
Definitely, definitely. And what we want, the long-term plan for our children is that they are moral, well-adjusted human beings who can be independent. You can be independent as a physician, you can be independent as a plumber, you can be independent working in a factory where you have one particular skill that you have, and there is that division of labor. So that is what we want. And the extent to which that is happening, one questions it. Some years ago, just to add this, I did some research with an institution for young people who were incarcerated in Trinidad. And it was quite surprising to me, although it should not have been. Most of those young persons could not read. They could not read. So these were teenagers, they had gone through the education system, and yet they could not read. So did they have a learning disability, or was that a special needs case? Not necessarily, but sometimes our system creates the learning disability.
You hit the nail on the head. That's exactly where I wanted to go next with, because we use tools of assessment, and I'm talking about the general exams and the like, that don't quite capture all of the potential of the child. So how would you advocate for a relook at how we assess the children, each child in each class?
I am very much for assessments which are done over time. So I know that, if I'm not wrong, that Barbados does that to some extent, where students are assessed at the end of the second grade or the end of the third grade, and if those assessment results are then used cumulatively. But also, what are they being assessed in? So students can be assessed in music, they can be assessed in art. So we are looking to see not only the math and the reading and the written language, but we are also looking at those children who have significant potential in sports and also in the arts. We have to develop those skills as well. Our curriculum is very, very academic based. And when you look at the curricula in other countries, you see where it is more broad based, where yes, we do the arts in the Caribbean, yes, we do sports and so, but the extent to which we try to maximize the skills that students have in those areas, I think we need to do some work on that.
Would you call for special schools, and walk with me for just a moment, kids, don't assume that I'm not knowing where I'm going. Children, would it be, I know we talked about mixed schools, where there are mixed environments for each child, because you don't want to have all autistic children together, all Downs together, all together. But do you think it is advantageous to have schools that specifically deal with certain needs?
I think it is. And I think it is for one reason. And that reason is we do not have the resources, and I'm not in Barbados, so I am just using a broad brush because I have spent time in many of our Caribbean islands. We do not have the resources in our classrooms to meet the needs of some of the students, depending on the level of severity of their special need. So you mentioned an autistic child. Autism runs the gamut. So you may have a child who is mild. You may have a child who is moderate. You may have a child who is severe. A child who is mild or moderate with additional support can function in a mainstream classroom. A child who is severe, more likely than not, will have significant challenges. The best model is to have schools where you may have a department in the school for children who cannot function in the classroom, but they can be integrated for times like PE or times like art, non-academic times, where they have the support. Now, that is the ideal. And the reason we would do this is so that our children who, again, to normalize, if we want to call it, or to encourage all our children to accept all children. Because, children could be very unkind.
Yes.
And when we keep children separated, children with special needs separated from their neurotypical peers, we find that the stigmas and so are maintained. So if we want to get away from that, one of the ways would be to have the students work together at some time. But for academic purposes, there needs to be a division. And I want to reiterate, I'm not saying that all children with special needs should be separated. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that it depends on the level of security. But because let's keep it real, there are some children who, in a mainstream environment, they will not get what they need. So yes, they will be included, but included meaning that they have a space in the classroom, not included in the fact that they are able to maximize their potential as any other child.
The concept of homework, which requires now some partnership with the home, the parents, and that support by the home of the child with special needs, educational special needs. Talk to the parents this morning about their role and responsibilities in helping this child to absorb all that it needs to be the kind of person which you've described earlier.
So it is quite interesting. Now, who are we talking about here? Are we talking about a child who is neurotypical, or are we talking about, okay, let me put it this way. We are talking about all children, regardless to the child's academic ability or not. Whatever is assigned by the school needs to be supported by the parents. Sometimes parents themselves cannot do what the child is doing in the classroom because they learned. We had this math workshop last week in Barbados, and the teachers will tell you some of the approaches shared by Dr. Banha brought aha moments to them. There is a need, a critical need always for parent education, so that what is happening in the classroom, to the extent that is possible, whether it is on an individual basis or whether it is whole group, where the teacher invites the parents in maybe once a semester, once a term, where they share some of the approaches that they use. But yes, it is critical. And children, oh, my teacher didn't show it to me this way. Yes. My teacher showed it. And sometimes it causes confusion. So I think to answer that question, you can support your child by ensuring that the child does the work. Once there are problems, you then communicate those problems with the school, because what homework does as well, if the child attempts to do it independently, it allows the teacher to see what the child has absorbed from the classroom, because we are learning not so that we can engage in the academic work in the classroom, but we must be able to transfer it outside of school. Yes. We must be able to estimate the cost of 3 items in the supermarket without using a calculator to determine whether or not we have enough money. Mm-hmm. So we learn that in the classroom. We must be able to transfer it. We must be able to tell the time wherever we go using an analog clock, yes. So that, yes, the support is necessary. But when we come to the area of calculations in math or some of the concepts in language arts, and so sometimes parents themselves need a refresher course because things are very different in some regards to the way that we did it. Well, I did it so many years ago.
Kits, you hold her right there on that point, because I'm going to come back to you, because I would like to hear from you some of the methods that you garnered from the workshop recently held to share with our parents as well and our listening teachers. So we'll take a break and we're coming right back with Kits Cadet in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
We enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love crew. When you love me just a little bit longer.
You get to relax and have a drink and listen to some nice music.
It's something different. It's spectacular. It's fabulous. It's a different feeling altogether.
I never feel so good in a party yet.
Follow me to Q in the Community this Thursday.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. And together we will travel the world.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing...
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We are 6 minutes now to 7 o'clock in Barbados. It's 6 minutes to 6 o'clock in Atlanta. That's where Kits Cadet is. She is an education consultant with the Methodist Church of the South Caribbean, but she's also very good at handling special needs and literacy and instruction. And so, Kits, you were mentioning to us a little while ago about a workshop with which you were engaged last week. And the approaches that were shared then, and as how it can really help not just broaden our approach to how we deal with instruction in schools, but with special needs as well. So teach us now this morning some of the approaches we needed to re-engage that would help us share with our special needs children.
One of the, and I'm just here echoing Dr. Banha, who was the facilitator of the 4-day workshop, 2 days for our primary school teachers and a day and a half for secondary school teachers, where he spoke of the need to have our students explore. We have a sage on the stage approach to education, where we give the information to our students. Dr. Banha encourages us to allow our children to explore, even our children with special educational needs. You put the materials in front of them and you see what they do with it. Again, that is dependent on the topic, the exercise, the competency of the child. But we allow students to engage in materials and engage in the content that we explore, the content that we are teaching. He also, which we as educators know that we must always use concrete materials, concrete, pictorial, and then abstract. We tend now, I have been an educator for many years, so I can tell you what I did in error. Very often, we spend very, very little time on the concrete and pictorial, and we go immediately to the abstract. And for many of our students at all levels, be it primary, be it secondary, be it special needs, be it neurotypical, that concrete is important so that the material could be velcroed onto the brain, because you're using all your faculties. You're using your vision, you're using your tactile, the kinesthetic, you're using all of yourself to engage with the material. So that basically, it's one of the things that he spoke about. He also spoke about, and which was quite interesting and which garnered a lot of conversation, was rote memorization without understanding. So I was working with a teacher last week, Saturday, and she had a child in her class who was autistic. He's 5. And she was so sympathetic. She was so understanding. She really wanted to do well by that child. But her expectations for him, they were almost the same as her expectations for the rest of the class. So yes, she was doing things in smaller bites, and she was really trying to see if she could address his needs. But he couldn't absorb the half a mouthful that she was trying to give him. So that as we think of math, we think of small steps and building a foundation. Now I want to give an example of a school that we have in Trinidad, Ishi's Learning Center, where I shared with the participants of the workshop, because we were speaking specifically about math and the success rate of math, not only in Barbados at the CXC level, but across the region. And the way in which, now this is a special school, a school for children with learning difficulties. So all the children in the sample that we did, all of them were diagnosed with some kind of learning difficulty. So be it dyslexia, dysgraphia, attention deficit, reading challenges, whatever the difficulty they may have had. They had all failed at the regular primary school, so they had come to this school that was a special school. The advantage there for them was that they were of different skill levels. So we had some high functioning, some low functioning, but they were all in the same environment. And because of the way the approach to the C exam was done, we have had 9 children write the exam, and they have all been successful with math at the secondary level. So at the C-Sec level, these children with dyslexia, dyscalculia, and all the other DISs, attention deficit, all of them who failed at the mainstream environment, they came to this school because of the approaches, some of which, most of which, and I'm speaking now, because you reference math, I'm speaking with math specificity, that they were successful at math. So that for me is our regional or local data. So we look at the data in Singapore and other places. We need to look at within the region, where are successes? with children with special needs, and how could we then mimic to the extent that we can what the approaches that they have used.
And for clarity to our viewers, the C exam in Trinidad is akin to our 11 plus exam in Barbados, at that stage where they're assessed for secondary education. And so, go ahead.
You're sorry, I should not have said the C. It should have been the CSEC, the CSEC exam. So the results I'm talking about were the results at the CSEC exam.
Okay. Thanks for that clarity there. But there's so much still that as society we can all do to help those with learning difficulties. As a school environment, there's much more we can do, and from the home as well, to give full support to our children who have a range of learning difficulties and not simply the ones that are obvious. And that's what's important, to be able to identify those that are not so obvious to the naked eye, and to be able to attend to those in the specific ways in which they need to learn. Because you talked about the different approaches by Mr. Har in the workshop that you would have done, whether it's tactile and the different methods. So I would hope that coming out of this conversation this morning, that educators and that parents are all thinking again as to how we deal with our children to ensure that we develop them to be their best selves educationally and be contributing members of society in a very positive way, and not be frustrated about the systems of life. That is also very, very important indeed. Kits Cadet, you wanted to say something.
Thank you. No, I just wanted to say that we have to recognize too that support is both from the grassroots, that would be the parent, the teachers in the classroom, but support also has to come from the systems that are put in place for our education.
Absolutely.
The systems that are put in place, so that we cannot give lip service. We cannot say, oh, we believe in inclusion and we have included our students. Okay, you have. What does that mean exactly? Does it mean that you have the child now sitting in a classroom in a school? What is being provided? I have a child who cannot read in the first grade, the second grade, the third grade. What is being done specifically to ensure that that child moves? So all stakeholders must walk hand in hand. Now that could be considered ideal. So why not strive for the ideal? If we strive for the ideal, we will fall somewhere along the continuum, but we must make the effort.
Kits, well said. Thank you as well for coming back to with us here on Mornin Barbados. And because we now know how to find you, we may be finding you more and more throughout the year.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
Have a wonderful rest of the day.
Likewise. Thank you. Kits Cadet, indeed, joining with us to continue on looking into education. And parents, she left you with some questions that you should ask of those who administer the schools that your child attend. Mornin Barbados continues after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
My friend, you don't plan to get it. Oh, Barbados. Hey, I'm KB Clean. Join me 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. right here at 94.7, the best and ultimate Bajan experience. My show is called Bajan to the Bone. Don't miss it, Bajan to the Bone. Weekdays right here and only here on 94.7.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
We enjoy a game of dominoes. I sing it.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We're 6 minutes after 7 o'clock. Last update you on the news now. Barbadians are being urged to approach artificial intelligence with an open and positive mindset. However, Minister in the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Investment, Senator Chad Blackman, admits that there will be challenges ahead, but he wants everyone to embrace AI. He was speaking during a panel discussion on the opening day of the FinTech Islands Experience 2025 conference at the Wyndham Grand. Trevor Thorpe reports.
Training to deal with AI is the key as stakeholders move to tackle challenges, as there could be some dislocation of jobs necessitating repositioning in the development process going forward. Minister in the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Investment, Senator Chad Blackman, says with all that, you have to prepare the people and the country for global business.
It has to be not just the Ministry of Education, for example, looking at that. It must be a combination of the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Labour, Ministry of Economic Development. Because why? You're trying to now prepare your country and your economy for the future of global work, future of global business. And therefore, in this moving landscape, balancing regulation, but also with the opportunity. Because one of the things you don't want to do in any particular jurisdiction is to crowd away investment and to crowd away innovation and to run away all these different things.
However, Minister Blackman cautions. He says, should challenges occur, sovereign governments should step in.
I personally don't see AI as some bogeyman that we must run from. I actually think we must embrace it, bearing in mind that there may be challenges here, but you tweak like any new thing. The internet has good and bad things, but we certainly can't live without the internet.
The minister says Barbados and the Caribbean are on a platinum mine, and the skill sets of the people, coupled with AI, could save the brain drain.
Our people get very good jobs around the world, okay, because of our certifications. But there are global challenges that we must now use Barbados as an anchor for, turning that high level of knowledge that we have into businesses and into global solutions. So traditionally, people would go and study medicine to be a doctor. But why not study medicine in addition to being a doctor and turn that idea of the knowledge that you have from medicine in trying to treat major solutions and problems rather around the world? And going back to your point, if we can then do that and scale that across the Caribbean, where everything that you can conceive becomes now a business opportunity. So it's from idea to business, and then you scale it, there will be no need for a brain drain.
The FinTech Experience 2025 will go into its second day at the Wyndham Grand Barbados Sam Lawrence Castle Resort tomorrow. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
Now, operators of public service vehicles engaging in indiscriminate parking and other negative behavior are being called out by the Alliance of Owners of Public Transport. That body is urging operators to comply with traffic rules. Anesta Henry has more.
The practice of public service vehicles parking on the Queen Elizabeth Hospital's pasture and its environs is illegal and must come to an end. Director of Public Communications and Public Affairs with the Alliance of Owners of Public Transport, Mark Haynes, says it's a headache for law enforcement officials and members of the public. He says that the PSVs should only be parked in the Constitution River terminal.
The workers use of it as a hub. It is not right. First of all, that area is a silent zone. Secondly, the hospital is there with sick patients or people en route to the hospital. Consider some of your relatives or friends en route to the hospital in an ambulance, en route to the hospital. There should be nobody should obscure the vision of any ambulance, obscure or have any and the area should not be impeded. There must be a free flow for that traffic, the ambulances, the police, whomever can travel there without having the place blocked up and so on.
Mr. Haynes says AOPT understands some operators use the trees on the pasture as a spot to have a meal and to take a rest. However, he says it's wrong for PSVs to be parked on the field or anywhere in the vicinity of the hospital for extended periods.
If the guys go in the afternoon to, let's say, have a little lunch and move off under the tree and move as quickly as you've eaten, just get off there and go. I don't think I will kill anybody for that. What I do not like is that workers go there and assemble out there and use that as a hub. So when they are the noise and the sound from the hospital, that is a silent zone. So we have to be compassionate. We have to have sympathy and empathy. We have to understand that we must not do things to offend whomever or to offend the general public. Moreover, those sick people in the hospital should not have excessive noise on the roads and blowing horns and blocking up the traffic and all of that. That is a no-no.
Noting that AOPT continues to receive complaints regarding the behavior of PSV operators on the roads, Mr. Haynes is asking drivers and conductors to obey road traffic rules at all times.
Why would you only comply when members of the Barbados Police Service are there, but when the members of the Barbados Police Service have left, you have gone back doing that foolishness? Think about it. Do some introspection. Think about the island in which you and I reside.
The Constitution River Terminal, completed at an estimated cost of $3.2 million, was opened in May 2018 in response to an outcry from PSV operators for improved facilities. Anesta Henry, CBC News.
Barbados has seen a rise in dangerous synthetic drugs, so says Chairman of the NCSA, Hadford Howell. He says those substances are often used alone or in combination with other legal or illicit drugs, including alcohol, prescription drugs, marijuana, or cocaine.
Mixing these synthetic substances increases the risk of addiction, aggressive behavior, crime, and overdose deaths. In Barbados, between 2021 and 2024, there have been law enforcement seizures of synthetic substances such as ecstasy and methamphetamine, and reported findings of synthetic cannabinoids. The production of synthetic substances is a major concern for first responders, including public health officials, fire service, and law enforcement personnel.
Well, those comments came at a stakeholder meeting on new psychoactive substances and the early warning systems, where it was told that Barbados is monitoring the recent discovery of a new psychoactive drug in Argentina. The NCSA Deputy Director Troy Wickham says an international agency confirms that the Inter-American Drug Abuse Council Commission produced a report that Argentina disseminated the two new psychoactive substances last Thursday. Wickham said that given the developments, the early warning system on new psychoactive substances has to be strengthened.
And every week, a different country is disseminating information on new psychoactive substances. These substances pose a threat to our public health, especially in small developing islands, who in many instances does not have the capacity, one, to identify, two, to monitor, and three, to handle these MPS. And it's important that we share as much information as possible to combat this threat. This is not meant to be a scare tactic, but it's our reality.
Now it is a done deal. Barbadian forward Nadre Butcher has signed a professional contract with Portuguese football team Real Sport Clube. The 20-year-old will now take his talents to the third tier of football in Portugal after his visa was approved. He is expected to fly to Europe next week to complete a 2-year agreement until 2027. That move comes after Butcher joined Irish club Bray Wanderers in July 2023 following a short stint in Germany. For Barbados, the former Weymouth Wales player has made 22 appearances for the senior national team, scoring a lone goal versus Grenada in an international friendly match at the Kirani James Stadium. 15 after 7, we'll take a break here. More news at 12 noon, and Morning Barbados continues in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love crew. When you love me just a little bit longer.
You get to relax and have a drink and listen to some nice music.
It's something different. It's spectacular. It's fabulous. You know, it's a different feeling altogether.
I never feel so good in a party yet.
Follow me to Q in the Community this Thursday.
So good in a party yet. You know why?
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
16 and a half minutes now after 7 o'clock as we turn our attention with our IT consultant, Mr. You know him, Everton Crawley. Everton, morning.
Morning, sir. How are you doing?
I am well. Happy New Year. It's been a while that we've seen each other.
It has been some time.
It's been some time indeed.
Yes.
I want to look with you today at leveraging artificial intelligence in education specifically.
Yes.
For those who are saying, I keep hearing this word artificial intelligence, I keep hearing the term AI. When we talk about that, what are we talking about?
Okay, so AI is basically a set of tools that you can use to help yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've realized when you hear AI, when it emerged, everyone was like fear mongering.
Yes.
You know, oh, it's going to lose our jobs. It's going to take over our jobs and whatnot. Then, you know, you have the movies out there, Terminator and whatnot. But what I'm here to talk about is leveraging it. Let it help you in whatever field you're in, especially education.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so the AI in education, the tools out there to help the teachers, to help the students as well. There's tools out there that can recommend content for, you know, such as timetables, scheduling, classes, plans and whatnot. You don't have to let it all do the work for yourself, but it's still an element of a human touch that's needed within the AI.
I'm going to come to that, some of the safeguards. But what I can tell you, if I go into Google to search, up to the top, I get an AI response and then other options.
Correct. So you get the options. So that's where the human aspect comes in. So it doesn't tell you, oh yeah, you have to do this or you have to choose this. We're giving you the options. And then some of them you can like use those options, or you can use the tools to filter out to make it more human. The response is more human. So for instance, if I have to respond to a question that you had for me and I didn't know how to answer it, I'll go on to ChatGPT and they will spit out, you know, a few options for me, but they may not be how you would express it. But you can take out and you can, you know, filter it and say, you know what, I can use this in my own terms. Yes, this is what you needed, but use this in my own terms. So you still got the human touch. You're not going to lose it.
I'm using my human touch to verify as well, because there are times when, I had this example the other day, I thought, oh my word, I need to be very careful, because the AI option popped up.
Yes.
And what I saw was not my known knowledge about the response. So I had to then take that and say, you know what, I can't use that at all because it is not quite accurate. So the question always is, who does put that in there? Where does that come from?
It's machine learning. So it's basically what you or what programmers are. It will learn from what it sees on the net. You know, various comments, responses, and whatnot. It will learn from that. Yes, they have some responses out there that are incorrect, and in time you will see that response, and then you'll say, no, that's not it. That's not correct. So it will learn from that and say, well, you know what? Pearson just said it's not correct, so I can put that in the trash. Let me pull from another database. Sorry, like, no, you're saying this verification. Sorry, like, there's some tools out there that do automated grading, right? So the teacher can upload the exam into this tool, and it will grade the student accordingly. However, it's not 100% accurate, right? So therefore, it asks for your review before it actually sends it out. Correct. So therefore, you still have that element of the human touch. It can do automated grading in multiple choice questions, fill in blanks, short answers, but it can't do essays because of creative thinking.
Yes.
But it can do essay evaluations.
I was coming to that as well. So, because the thing about plagiarism,
I was just about
or
to say
that you
that.
say it then.
Right. So there are tools out there that you can do the essay evaluation. It can go based on the grammar, but the whole aspect is plagiarism. So you can upload this document and you can verify, nah, John Brown did not write this.
Yes, yes, yes.
You know?
Or suddenly you discover that all of the students copy and pasted, and so everybody has the same
copying from
structure.
John Brown.
Correct.
So yes, there is that element out there. So you still need, and as I was saying, not only plagiarism but creative thinking. So let's say 1 plus something is 3. 1 plus what is 3?
2.
1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is also 3.
That is correct. That's still 2.
Correct. So you will have the tool may say, 1 plus 2 is 3. But John Brown may come across with 3 ones.
Yes.
But he would say, no, that's not what I as my AI tool is saying. So you're wrong. But that's creative thinking right there.
And so therefore, while it has a role to play, it does not absolve the teacher or those who are managing it with the responsibility to check it.
Correct.
To still check.
Correct.
So we should not be afraid of AI.
No, you shouldn't. In all aspects of life, use it to your ability. Leverage it to your ability. Like, we were saying probably not get into business, but let's say you have a business plan, right? You have a business plan that could be 8 to 10 pages long, but no one's going to look at an 8 to 10 page business plan. So you can put that in one of the tools and say, hey, condense this to 1 page.
Right.
It will condense it to 1 page, all the points that you need, but it's up to you to expand on those points using those 10 pages. So, as I said, it helps. Back to education, it helps with classroom management. It helps with content creation. It helps with content recommendations, grading. It helps with so many other things. It also recommends to a teacher to more, educate themselves some more. To give them some tips on topics, and tricks. It also gives you enhanced learning or engaging tools, such as like a gamified lesson, AR, VR, stuff like that. Scheduling. You got scheduled. Oh my goodness.
It works. It works.
Scheduled timetables
has been a nightmare for some people.
Yes.
So you talked about Chat GPT.
Correct.
What other software, I could call it that if I wish, that is available that can aid in our education system apart from just Chat GPT?
Grammarly, Turnitin. There is I cannot remember exactly that tool that does the automated grading. But once you Google it, it's out there. Now, many of these things, some of them come at a cost. But there are also some free, these tools have free options as well. But you have to leverage or think, okay, can this free option work for me, or do I have to pay for it? So there's that. There are quite a bit of tools out there that can help you. I can't name all.
Right, I know.
Right?
But there are some options that you
options
just
out there.
search and you'll find.
So for Grammarly, for instance, you can use Grammarly for anything, and there's a free option for it as well.
Yeah, I know, because it keeps popping up in my search. I'm like, why are you here? Why are you bombarding me with this? As if I have a challenge with grammar.
No, but you may not have a challenge with grammar, but the tone, it also works with your tone. Let's say you're doing an email and you think, oh, my tone is not aggressive. It may give you an option and say, you may be a little bit aggressive. Here's this suggestion. Okay. It can do that for you.
All right, so I won't get upset with Grammarly. Sorry, Grammarly. I'll treat you kindly. But safeguards. Let's talk about that specifically, because it's all good to have the tool. We can see the good in it.
Correct.
And the natural fear, as you said at the beginning, was that people feel it will cause them to no longer be relevant. But the relevance for those people come because you are really the gatekeeper. You're the safeguarders, so to speak. So what safeguards do you see as opportunities for people?
That's a good question. What safeguards I believe will be you educate yourself some more, okay? As I said before, use it for your strengths, and just be aware of a lot of these things. A lot of the questions or the responses to the questions aren't correct. So educate yourself, verify for yourself, and if you keep it, don't be complacent.
Right.
Yeah, because if you rely on it too much,
the brain can addle.
Correct.
That's what you say.
Correct.
So use your brain capacity, but be sure as to where it is this is taking you. And there's a whole lot more to this that is so critical, because it can either make or break you.
Correct.
As with everything, buyers beware.
Yes.
Buyers beware. You still have to manage it. Don't let it overtake you, because in overtaking you, you could find yourself following the wave system ways.
Yes.
It takes you down the wrong road.
Takes you down the wrong road, it takes you left, and you end up in a cane field.
Precisely.
I'm not supposed to be here.
So still use your knuckles.
Still use your brain. There are some challenges with it. On the initial aspect, obviously, there's three I can think about. There's cost.
Right.
Right. Some of these systems can be expensive, especially with the education sector. It can be expensive. How much more money do you want to spend? There's also the learning curve, because the teachers and the students, or the staff and whatnot, they have to still learn about these tools, how to use it correctly, and there's also data privacy.
Yes.
So you have to ensure that the tools that you're using are compliant with GDPR, which is General Data Protection Regulation. That's an EU law that protects and secures personal data. So you really and truly don't want anything like that
in your system
or using your personal data.
Right.
Because next time we talk, we're going to talk about cybersecurity.
Oh boy. We're going to talk about cybersecurity next time we speak. Thank you so much, Everton Colley, as always, for coming by and just broadening our experience, because this is the world in which we live, the technological age. And so we need to know more about what's possible, but we also need to know about the safeguards. So thank you, as always, and good to see you again, my brother.
Always good to see you as well.
All right, buddy. We're coming right back with more after this break.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb, and together we will travel the world.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
My friend, you don't plan to get it? Oh, Barbados. Hey, I'm KB Clean. Join me 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. right here at 94.7, the best and ultimate Bajan experience. My show is called Bajan to the Bone. Don't miss it, Bajan to the Bone. Weekdays right here and only here on 94.7.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
We enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love crew.
When you love morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
28 minutes now to go to 8 o'clock. Cara Boyce is the executive coach at Impact Coaching International. She has a 30-day plan, which she promises us will bring clarity to a whole host of plans that we have. Do you want to know more? Well, I do too. Cara Boyce, good morning to you.
Good morning, Person. How are you?
I am well. How do you do?
I am great. I'm great. I just love your introductions. It always makes me feel so warm.
Thank you very much. So here it is. You have a plan. And you know, you used to hear the term, I have an app for that. Cara Boyce has a plan. So help me understand, first of all, why you think this is important that we have this clarity, and how could 30 days really clear up the muddle for me?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So firstly, let me just say good morning, Barbados. And in 30 days, you're not going to have all of the answers. That is not what I'm here to share with you. I just want to let you know that within 30 days, you can get onto the correct pathway towards having the answers or the desired approaches that you would need. When I think about clarity as a life coach, as a leadership coach, some of the things that I see, certainly in myself as well as in some of my clients, is that when you lack intention, when you lack focus, there is a lot of room for other plans. There's a lot of room for other things that don't necessarily feed our soul or feed our spirit, right? And so persons are walking around not feeling very fulfilled. They don't feel a sense of peace. They don't feel a sense of joy. And I really believe that this 30-day challenge would help persons identify what are the things that I don't like? What are the things that are not going so well in my life right now that are disrupting that peace and that fulfillment and that joy that I'm seeking? And I really, really do believe that it starts with clarity.
You're quite right. And practicing this clarity, and as I was listening to you, I'm thinking 30 days would require me to be not just intentional, but it becomes a habit. By 30 days, it becomes a habit. And habit changing or habit forming is what you're seeking to do here. Because once you know the road, then you know your destination. And that's what you're seeking to be able to do with us here through this 30-day challenge.
Correct. Correct. And when you speak about habit forming and habit breaking, it's quite interesting how immediately sometimes we automatically feel discouraged. So, for example, it's the beginning of the year, and persons usually set a lot of New Year resolutions. So, the gym is one of those things,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where persons want to get fit, get healthy, etc. I'm one of those persons, by the way, and I think I'm doing pretty good so far. But usually it comes with this pressure where we feel as though, okay, maybe I can continue for this amount of time, but we're not sure within ourselves. We don't trust ourselves to complete that particular process, right? And so when we think about habit forming, one of the things that this 30-day clarity challenge allows you to do is to formulate a desire. It's not just about setting a goal mentally, but why is this important to you? And that desire only comes when you have greater awareness on the things that are important to you, when you have greater awareness on the things that you don't like. So, for example, as you go through the first 7 days, we're focusing on dumping. So you're decluttering your life, you're decluttering your space. I don't know if anyone has ever experienced where your space around you is quite congested,
Mm-hmm.
and your bag is congested, and as soon as you do a clean or a dump, or you declutter the space, you feel a lot lighter, etc. What's happening is that you're giving your mind room to think. You're
Mm-hmm.
giving yourself room to relax, to breathe, to recognize things around you that you haven't seen before, etc. And as you do that, then you start to introduce things that you might like. Okay, so now I have some time that I can perhaps spend more time with God. I can perhaps do a devotional, lengthen the time in prayer, etc. Or I have some time that I can spend or connect with family. And you're realizing that by having this, by decluttering and having this room, you're actually having space to do things that you enjoy. That starts to create a desire within you, and you want to continue after that. So the 30-day challenge is designed in a way to take you through that process of dumping, then digging a little deeper where you learn about yourself, you learn what is important to you, your values, etc. And you start to add those little things that make a big difference in your life until you get to the point of desire where you say, you know what? It's been 30 days of this. I do not want to go back to who I used to be before. And then you start to really dig and be intentional and focused on your path.
Let's go through those 3Ds one by one. Decluttering.
Yes, sir.
And decluttering can be done in many different ways. It is your physical space. So if I walk into the bedroom and I see that bed all messy again, it's going to send me crazy, so to speak. So if you find that you clean the space, you feel different. Your vision is a whole lot clearer as to what now else can be done. That's one. Two, I think one should also look to declutter social media. We found ourselves living in that space so much that it impacts us sometimes in a very negative way. So you might need to shed some of the different places that you visit. You might need to shed some of the friends that you would want to engage with on social media and the like. And so all of that, I think, is part of the decluttering. I don't want people to think it's just your physical space alone, but then you walk in your head, tend some time to walk in your head. Do I feel negative, have negative thoughts about this individual or this thing? And how do I now not carry that burden any further? How do I just let it go and let in what else needs to, which is the light that you're talking about? So how do we then let go? Because a lot of these things are wrapped up in emotions, Cara. How do I let it go so that I can absorb in?
Yeah, that when you think about emotional clutter and decluttering that weight that I call it, that is really a journey in itself, right? If you want to be intense with it, of course, I'm a woman of faith, Christian, so that's my go-to, right? I lay that at the feet of God. But there is an entire process that you need to go through. First, you have to understand, what am I feeling? So as you mentioned, decluttering everything that's in your mind, one of the things that persons can do is make a list, just or journal anything that's in your mind, that you're feeling, that you're thinking, because it constantly recirculates. Think about it. Picture it as if you're in a room with no windows and it's just that old air that is circulating. It starts to make you sick, right?
Yes.
And so that's what happens when you have those thoughts, especially if they're negative and you're not adding anything new. So you need to dump on paper, just journal. Only last night, Pearson, I was feeling overstimulated. I don't know. And you mentioned social media. I think it was something that I saw on Instagram that kind of triggered me. And all of a sudden, I felt a shift in my body. I felt kind of overstimulated, etc. And I said no. So I started to worship, and then I started to journal my thoughts in my phone so that I can just get it out, right? And you will be surprised what you learn about yourself when you just pause, take the time to be still, to be present with yourself, and understand what is really happening in your mind and in your body.
You're quite right. There's a time for everything as well, because you have to compartmentalize in some way the time for that. And it's critical, I suppose, in the 30-day challenge to take time to be with yourself and to be with the bigger force here, which is God. And so you believe within the first 7 days of my 30-day challenge, I can do all of the cleansing that I require. And by the end of that 7 days, I should be holy and pure again. Right, Karen?
By the end of that 7 days, you should be ready to go deeper.
Yes.
You should be ready to go deeper.
So in the deeper part now, going into that stage of the experience and challenging myself for clarity, what now do I physically and practically do so that I can see myself making progress?
Okay, so now that goes back to your initial question about releasing. So this is where now you have confronted the parts about yourself that you do not like. And if you're being honest, there are some things about ourselves that we rather keep hidden, right?
Yes, yes.
This is why we can tend to overcompensate by perhaps being extremely busy or being extremely progressive, because we don't want to focus on what isn't going well, etc., right? Or we can avoid certain things. But in the first 7 days, you expose that. So the next 7 days now, you are forgiving yourself. So you're writing a letter of apology to yourself for the things that you didn't do, or the things that you did do that bad decisions perhaps that made you arrive at where you are now in your life. And you're just you're giving yourself grace. You're allowing yourself to let that go. Then you are transitioning into your future state. So you're thinking about, okay, what are my skills? What are my competencies? What are the things that I have going well about me? Right, there it is. Thank you so much. So you're navigating through your skills, your abilities. Then you're looking at what are the resources that you have access to that you can then start to add to your arsenal, right? So that you can develop yourself. You make a list of people, because now you want to start focusing on your network. It's almost as though you're starting to design the framework, Pearson, for your life, so that you can start to build and tap into the right sources, the right information, and the right skills that will get you a mindset of elevation, but also elevate your spirit, elevate how you feel about yourself today, and how you feel about who you will be in another 30 days, another 3 months, 6 months, another 3 years, right? That's where we're doing the digging.
And don't feel that you failed, because we beat ourselves up often with this, but sometimes you need to step back and step forward again until you have sure footing. So in all of this, I'm sure you want to remind viewers that as you take on the new habit, there are going to be times that there will be some setback. There are going to be times that you will fall back to what was comfortable for you. And perhaps you start the cycle all over again of decluttering to dig deeper. And that's absolutely critical.
Exactly. And it's interesting that you said that, Pearson, because I really don't know. I feel as though we're all similar. Like we start something and we're on a good streak. Let's say we
Yes.
1 to 10 on day 10 and we forgot to do it on day 11. All of a sudden, everything,
Yes.
and so we no longer want to do this challenge, right? We want to either start over again from day one
Mm-hmm.
or we don't do it at all. And that isn't necessary. And what I would say to you guys is, don't take it that serious, right? It really is not that serious. Life really is not that serious. We are all going to make mistakes. We're all going to stumble. We just have to shake it off and continue from where we are. And that's what continuous improvement is. Continuous improvement is not about starting from the beginning. It's about starting from your current position and improving every day, taking the steps that you can with the capacity that you have at that moment. And what I mean about what do I mean by that? For example, if today you can give 100%, give 100%. If tomorrow, based on what's going on in your environment, based on what's going on in your family life, etc., you only have the capacity to give 50%, you give your 50%. What you're building is a discipline to give it your best on any given day. But understand that your best can change. Your best can vary, right? Or it can vary from time to time based on what's happening in your life. So you have to make room for being human. Yeah.
Yes, yes. You're so. I'm watching you with almost like a devoted little baby watching its mother speak to it. Because you're saying everything I think we all need to know, and so it helps us grow as we go. And as you've used the example of if it's only 50%, give your full 50%. The widow's mite.
Yeah.
She gave all that she had, and there was a level of contentment in doing that. And so if you want to sleep a little easier at night and you want to live a life where you don't have to feel as though you're scattered, this challenge will really help you with that. So over 30 days, this is what we're seeking to do. We're going to be decluttering, we're going to be digging deeper, and then the third D.
And the third D, well, there are actually four. The third D is your dive in, but it's quite similar to
digging.
dig. Yeah, it's quite similar to digging, just a lot more heavy lifting. You're building in some habits. We added some healthy habits there as well. So it gets your body moving.
Right.
An object in motion stays in motion. And as someone who exactly, and as someone who's not necessarily a fitness junkie per se, but who's also started her fitness journey, I can say to you, I've seen the difference between my mindset when I'm not moving and my mindset when I am moving. Something as simple as wanting to go to the kitchen to grab something to eat, Pearson. Sometimes if you're not constantly moving, that thought alone can feel like, a deterrent. I don't feel like moving now. So, when your body is moving, it's almost as though you don't have this lazy thinking, right? You automatically just think about moving. You automatically just think about acting. So even in your job, if you are moving, if you're active when it comes to starting a project or completing a particular task, like your mind just automatically goes into action mode, right?
Yes.
So that's really what we're doing with diving as well. And as you can see, Pearson, I'm sharing from personal experience and personal examples because I really do believe it starts with me first before I can introduce it to my clients and my community. And I think that's what helps me to make it a lot more authentic and relatable for the persons that are participating in the particular challenge.
And then there's a fourth D very quickly because I didn't realize the time was going so quickly. The fourth D.
I know, right? And the fourth D, which we did mention earlier, would be desire.
Right.
So after you go through all of this, then you recognize that you're liking the small changes that you're seeing in yourself, particularly the things that you're feeling. I want you to focus on what you feel more so than what you are accomplishing, because because it is that feeling that will fuel your path. It will fuel your path to purpose. A lot of the times we do not pursue our purpose. We do not pursue the things that we ought to be pursuing because we don't feel good about ourselves.
Yes.
We are not confident. We are not clear. So once we are doing these things over the 30 days, and you can repeat it as many times as you wish. Come on, it's free. So once you're doing these things over the 30 days, you build that confidence. You get that assurance back into yourself and so forth, and you feel encouraged to take on your life's journey, head on.
So where can we get a copy of this, the 30-day challenge?
It's on my website. You can go to learn.impactcoachinternational.com/courses/clarity, or if you just put in the first part,
yes,
you'll see it there.
And it's right there on your screen, ladies and gentlemen. That's where we can all take on the 30-day challenge. It's a clarity challenge. It brings peace to your space. It brings peace to your life and your spirit. That's what we're talking about. And Cara Boyce has just joined us with the spirit shining through. I'm watching your face. I'm thinking there's a light radiating for you, which is good. So she's lived it. You can live it as well. Cara, thank you so very much. All the best indeed.
Thank you so much, Pearson.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Cara Boyce, who is the executive coach at Impact Coaching International. Let's take on that 30-day clarity challenge. We're coming back in a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love crew. When you love me just a little bit longer.
You get to relax and have a drink and listen to some nice music.
It's something different. It's spectacular. It's fabulous. It's a different feeling altogether.
I never feel so good in a party yet.
Follow me to Q in the Community this Thursday.
So good in a party yet. You know why?
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Affairs segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb. And together we will travel the world.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
My friend, you don't plan to get it.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Listen, I have something for you guys. I want you to look at your screen. I'm going to share with you something on your screen, and then I want you to figure it out, and then you call me on 228-5562 or 228-5563. Let's get those brains ticking even at this hour of the day. It's now 6 minutes to go to 8 o'clock. Take a look at your screen as soon as it comes up and you figure it out. Figure out if you know the answer to this one, because there's a statement into what I'm going to share with you in just a moment. Don't forget, there's Q in the Community today, content playing field. So look at this. Look at this. What do you think is this? There is a message in this. Got you good, right? Tell me what you see when you see this. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Tell me what you see. There's a statement, and I want you to make the statement to me correctly. When you look at this, this is telling you something. You better believe it. Can you figure it out, or has your brain gone cold? Do you need clarity? 228-5562 or 228-5563. Call me now. Let's see how smart you are, little geniuses out there. Look at this on your screen, and you tell me in a statement what this is saying. Talk to me now. 228-5562 or 228-5563. I can see you scratching your head. You're trying to look at it. You're saying, Pearson, you're making beer sport. That is the alphabet, and I will tell you it's not the alphabet. So tell me what you have figured out from this one. 228-5562 or 63. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Hi. Do you think you have an answer?
Yeah.
What's the answer?
You are missing.
I beg your pardon?
You are missing.
How could I be missing? I'm not there.
I know
I see I. I see I.
But I see you missing it on TV.
So I am missing? But I is there. Gotcha again, but you're quite right. Missing you.
Yeah.
You are missing you. Same thing. Thank you very much, okay?
You're welcome.
Have a good morning indeed. You're a good sport. She's a good sport indeed. So she's right. Missing you or you are missing. I will take that. I will definitely take that. We have another one? Can we share another one? We have 4 minutes to go to 8 o'clock. So don't forget Q in the community today. Where are we going today, by the way, for Q in the community? We're going to, oh, look at this. Look at this. Work your brains around this one. Now, let me see if Madam Genius can get this also worked out. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Figure this one out. What do you think is being said when you look at what you see on the screen right now? That is our question of the moment. What do you see? Give me the statement. There is a statement being made by what you see. 228-5562 or 228-5563. We're going to the content playing field, by the way, for Q in the community today. Buses will leave at the Granville Williams Terminal from 11 o'clock this morning. We want to see you there. But what is this statement that you're seeing on your screen right now? I know it's hard, right? I know. 228-5562, 228-5563 are the numbers to call. You guys are smart. I know you know this one. I know you can figure this one out. So figure it out. Good morning. Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm well, thank you for asking. What parish are you watching us from?
I live in St. Michael, but I used to live in St. Lucie.
You did? Where in St. Lucie did you live?
Pie Corner.
Oh, just up the hill from where I live.
Okay, yeah.
So my question to you is, why you left Pie Corner?
First. Long story.
Don't worry about it. Somebody said to me, they should ask you why you left. Don't ask me. What do you think this is saying, ma'am?
This is saying life begins at 40.
But there's 40 on the screen.
Or after 40.
No, you got it. No, you got it. Life begins after 40. Well done indeed. And so, what's your first name?
Sharifa.
Sharifa, did you go back to any of the events in St. Lucie for a gathering?
I haven't gotten there yet. I'd like to go on Saturday.
Oh, you're going to Chuckahall Playing Field?
Hopefully.
And are you going to engage in the genealogy marketplace?
Oh, yes. I absolutely love genealogy, so that's not a problem.
Really? What have you found about yourself?
Oh, so many things. That's a long story.
Everything for you is a long story. Everything for you is a long story. But I have another question for you. If you could time travel back in time to a time in history, where would you like to go and why? You're skinny, too.
In 1960s.
Why?
Like, around independence.
Why?
To see what the moon was like in the country.
Everybody was happy. So, any other reasons?
I guess to see what life was like for the elders and family,
All right.
my parents.
Fair enough. Would you like to go to the Garden of Eden?
Oh yes. I would like to deal with that snake. Just
What would you like to do with it? What would you like to do with a snake?
Bounce up something. Get rid of him.
Thank you. And change the course of life forevermore.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. You've been quite fun and quite honest. Thank you very much indeed. Folks, we've had fun, haven't we? This is the way we do it on Morning When you wake up with us on Morning Barbados. Remember, tell someone about it. Let them tune in to have some fun with you too. That's it, my little crew. Don't forget, again, queue in the community, as I told you just now, is at Content Playing Field. Buses are leaving Granville Williams Terminal at 11 o'clock. They're going to be traveling every 2 hours. They're going to the terminal, to the location, and then bring you back to both terminals. You're going? Be there. Our little crew says thank you. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up.
Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning.
Wake up, wake up, wake up.
Morning to you.
My friend, you don't plan to get it? Oh.